You're watching The Bottom Line. I'm your host, Susan Kennedy. In our last episode, we introduced you to two community mayors who work closely with the Montgomery County Council on priorities for their respective towns. In this episode, we visit with two more of these elected officials, and we start in the town of Poolesville, where the mayor has spent more than 20 years immersed in that town's politics. A caring community with small-town values and character. That's how residents who live in Poolesville characterize their little town.
I like this being a small town. It's a great place to raise a family. I feel safe for my kids.
With a population of just over 5,000, Poolesville has managed to remain a rural town surrounded by the agricultural reserve, and Eddie Kuhlman is their mayor.
I have the time to invest in it, and I have engrossed myself very deeply into the job through the municipal league, through contacts with the state, the county. I just enjoy the work. You get to see the results of the work implemented or the reaction of the decisions very quickly, and it's very nice to see that.
How long is this particular building? This looks fairly new, this townhome.
2008.
Wow, yeah. So when Kuhlman and his family moved to Poolesville from Wheaton more than 30 years ago, he immediately became interested in what was going on around him. He ran for office for the first time in 1990 and was ousted in 1994 after he voted to annex more than 500 acres of land that was once a polo club for a mosque and Islamic school complex. He continued to go to meetings even after losing the election and eventually returned to politics in 2000. How many people are in here working?
With 4. I'd rather serve than campaign. I'm not real public. A lot of people find that hard to believe, but I'd rather do the work. I hate campaigning.
As mayor, or formerly president of the council, Kuhlman represents the town at functions, opens Poolesville Day, and is a presence in Annapolis during the legislative session. But he's quick to point out his position is not one of authority.
Basically, I have no more power than my colleagues, except I set the agenda for the meetings and I run the meeting. Dictators, if you will. But I have no more power than they do.
But do you consider yourself, do they consider you the face of the Poolesville government?
According to my staff, yes, ma'am.
Though the vast majority of residents leave town each day for work, that doesn't stop the community from coming together for events like Poolesville Day and local sports. It's those connections and small town feel that make Poolesville attractive to its residents.
People think you're going out to the boondocks, but we're not that far away from everything. It's 6 miles to White's Ferry. You cross the ferry, you're in Leesburg. It's a great community, a very caring community, highly educated, and with the #1 high school. So people ought to consider coming here.
Most recently, Poolesville has been in the news regarding the health of the town's water. The supply comes from groundwater pumped at 11 wells around the town. Concerns arose when unsafe levels of radon and uranium were found in the drinking water. But today, Kuhlman says that problem has been solved and that Poolesville has the purest water you can get.
We went on a massive drilling campaign and our water situation's ended. We have plenty of water. In fact, we have several wells that are capped and not even in use right now for backups.
Today, he says his biggest concern is how to spur economic development in the town. In June, Selby's, the town grocery store, closed its doors after 65 years.
You're looking at a town of about 5,100 people, and 85 to 90% of the adult population gets up 5 days a week and leaves town to go to work. So the business is having a very hard time on what's left. You know, myself as a real estate broker, I've worked and tried to find a grocer to come here, but we're a small community. It's hard for them to make that decision now in this economic climate. So we're trying to find ways to bolster and build up the economic development. Yeah, this is Kathy Bulp, our Community Economic
Hi,
Development
Kathy.
lady.
Susan Kennedy, nice to see you. It's an election year in Poolesville, and yes, Eddie Kuhlman is looking to run again. We spoke to him just weeks before the election, and he was just getting prepared to submit his official papers for re-election. He's not worried, though. The only names that will appear on the ballot are those of him and his colleagues who are also seeking another term. Is it a part-time job, or tell me a little bit about the job itself and the time?
It's a non-paid volunteer position that you have to stand election for. But I would say on a mild week, 10 hours. On a heavy week, close to 40. You have to get a petition from Town Hall. You have to secure minimum 25 registered voters' signatures and pay $10 to get your name on the ballot for a free job.
One thing is for sure, Eddie Kuhlman loves the town of Poolesville. He told us early in the interview folks sometimes cringe when he starts to speak his mind. Despite that, he says, as long as the residents will still have him, he won't be going anywhere anytime soon.
Kids and the grandkids are here, we're staying here. So we've made the conscientious decision, we've made some modifications to our home, and we're here till they carry us out in body bags.
Washington Grove is home to 230 families spread out over 200 acres. This historic town is off the beaten path just outside of Gaithersburg, tucked away in a forest. And as we show you in this next story, those folks who live there would like to keep their town just that way.
We're at Grove Avenue, and this is the main avenue in town.
Oh, okay. So this is considered the main
main drag.
Okay. A town within a forest. That is how the first mayor of Washington Grove,
Oh, there he is. This is Irving Roy McCathran. He's my husband's grandfather.
Roy McCathran.
These were made by Roy McCathran. He ordered these. He was so proud of the town, and he had these made up and sold these to the town for a fundraiser.
Referred to this quaint community tucked away among the trees just outside of Gaithersburg. Founded in the early 1870s, Washington Grove is a community that's been able to retain its character as urban development has creeped closer to its borders. This is the first, I guess you would call this is the founding grounds of Washington Grove.
Exactly. There was originally a tabernacle out of the circle.
And these were originally, it was a camp for Methodist, a Methodist
church. It was
church.
called the Camp Meeting Association. It was developed out of 3 or 4 churches from downtown DC, and they wanted to escape the summer heat. The B&O Railroad, for promotional purposes, brought the wood out here and the contents for the cottages at no charge to the families. They paid a very small charge for their passage, something like 25 to 75 cents, but they would have bundles of wood and tenting and camp chairs, other things that they would bring out on the train.
In 1937, the Washington Grove Camp Meeting Association was dissolved and the community was incorporated as a town. Cottages that were built in a circle in the center of town replaced the tents. Is this still sort of considered the center of town, if you will?
This is it.
Do you do anything here symbolic or anything? Does anything symbolic happen here?
I know one time we had a hymn sing up here.
Okay.
In my time, that's really what I remember. It's just a very peaceful place to be. We come out here and visit with neighbors.
Jolie McCathran's family has deep roots in the community. Her children are the 6th generation to live in this town of 225 homes, surrounded by more than 200 acres of forest and parkland.
That about 52% of the town is forest land and wood preserve and parkland, and is owned by the town of Washington Grove. And there's a development that the property developer wants to build. There's already an apartment unit on the complex, and he wants to increase it significantly, and it's really not compatible with Washington Grove or the other neighbors that are surrounding that property. So we're trying to work with that developer to see if we can lower the density, make it more compatible.
The homes in Washington Grove are mostly bungalows and cottages with a few Cape Cods and colonials. There is no mail delivery. Residents go to the town post office that's located in the only commercial strip in town. The MARC train station is less than a mile away, making the town an attractive option for commuters. So when folks move into town here, do they appreciate what they're moving into? Do they see the historic value of these homes in this community?
I think some people do, and some people don't. I've met a few people who just said, I just went by and saw this house for sale, and I talked to somebody, and I learned about how nice this is, the things we do. We have a recreation committee, we have town parades, Labor Day events. We have a women's club that's fantastic. So I mean, there are a lot of opportunities. So some people move in knowing well in advance that those opportunities are here, and other ones take a little time, but everyone's always welcome here. We always enjoy new neighbors.
Washington Grove is governed by a council of citizens consisting of 6 elected council members rotating for election each year. However, most of the work to keep the town running is done by volunteers. What do we use this particular building for?
There are a lot of uses of this building. The main one is town government. We have our town offices in here. Our town employees work out of here. We have our town meeting, town events. There are a lot of parties here.
Jolie McCathran serves the town in a variety of positions and wouldn't have it any other way.
Our work mostly entails dealing with complaints, concerns, both interior and exterior to the town. Can be somewhat confusing, but we set our own tax rate, pass the budget, deal with that budget entails everything from snow removal. Our roads are private, but anyone's welcome, they're open to the public. Refuse contract, recycling contract. So we're dealing with a lot of figures and a lot of concerns.
So what's it like doing this? Is it a labor of love?
It is a labor of love. It can be a lot of work. It can be very frustrating at times. But people really do care about the community, and they may come in with a different approach, but everybody has a right to be heard, and everybody has a right to their opinion.
Though the tents are long gone, there is a summer camp feel to the town. There are no busy streets or paved sidewalks, just grassy walkways. Living in a forest does require folks to adapt to their surroundings.
And we're not allowed to take down any trees, and so if there was a large tree in the property, you had to build around it.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
So we've got a couple houses with trees. These were shares, and you bought shares, and 5 shares bought you a tent site from the Camp Meeting Association. And you were not allowed to remove any trees on the property to build your house. So if there was a substantial tree on the property, you were required to build around it. Beautiful white oak. This is an example of what happened.
And sometimes Mother Nature can wreak havoc just as in any other community.
This tree.
That's a big job.
And it took out my neighbor's kitchen and part of his bathroom.
Oh, I see that.
Oh,
yes.
It was awful. It was awful. It was a bad storm.
Geez.
We got hit very, very hard.
But a bigger threat to Washington Grove is infringing development. So this town is sort of tucked away, if you will, from the hustle and bustle out there on 355 and 270. But you must feel some of the pressures of the growth and whatnot that's happening here in the county. Do you experience any kind of issues like that?
Oh, absolutely. I think one of the biggest impacts the town, more recent impacts the town has incurred is the building of I-370 and the ICC. We very much hear that noise where we used to not hear that noise. It used to be it was a getaway, it was a camp. And now we do hear the hum of traffic in the area. But we definitely like to preserve what we have because we think it's a gem.
Well, that wraps up this edition of The Bottom Line. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kennedy. Thanks for watching.